Society has cultured us to glorify insignificant differences instead of celebrating infinite similarities among us. And we created a divided and fearful society that has corrupted the history of this marvelous world with terrible stories of tribulation, anarchy, and destruction. We distilled a culture that calls everything that is natural wild and is determined to deform nature with an apocalyptic agenda of taming and sculpturing people to see the world the way culture deems it right. Our consciousness reflects the society that nurtured us. And like swaddled babies, it possesses us and holds us away from the secret of what each of us can become. And that makes us less of what we can be. So our lives, they revolve in closed systems that are confined to separate horizons of the same world. And we worship and look for hope in those caves. Yet, it is those limitations that crush and impoverish us. I would call that religion. We've been hypnotized to think that the religion of separation is the truth. The same way we believe that the image on the mirror is real, even though when I turn left, it turns right. When I write the word live, it appears as evil. God appears as dog. So, in that religion of apparent images, we preserve inverse representations and do not wish to heal the pain caused by separation from truth. Captured in a divided and fragile society of our own creation, we become shallow people who are obsessed with boundaries, racists who fear a different skin color because they cannot think beyond the limits of the skin, sexists who confuse biology with purpose, capitalists who strive for immortality through physical material that decomposes, nationalists who can't think beyond rivers, mountains, or the horizon, fundamentalists who can't go beyond static traditional beliefs in a fluid society. And that makes us magical and mythical 21st century people who are afraid of the detail in diversity with the fear of losing sight of the shore. Why? Why is this so? Because from childhood, we're brainwashed to embrace a fractured worldview that separates subject and object, culture and nature, thoughts and things, values and facts, spirit and matter. We were taught to select aspects of the story that interest us and ignore or destroy parts that annoy us in a pursuit for a painless and comfortable world. The relational bias towards what seems favorable disconnected us from other human beings, and we failed to see ourselves in that homeless person because our dissociated fragments of consciousness are no longer aligned with the dynamic flow of the universe, and so we cannot be compassionate. Separation is isolation. Isolation brings sorrow, and sorrow's most defeating temptation is hatred, and hatred brings violence. And that is the reason why violence is easily meted out on marginalized group. And xenophobia is as old as civilization itself. Separation means dissociation, and its primary victim is communion. And when communion dies, visible and invisible barriers for interdependent and transactive human interactions emerge, and we become desensitized. Life loses its meaning. Happiness becomes elusive. Coexistence declines. There is scarcity in the midst of abundance, and finiteness in an infinite universe. We will not feel at home in this world as long as we sacrifice the sense of responsibility for individual survival that can only thrive through valuing how I feel at the cost of the collective consciousness of how we feel. And that higher state can only be attained by including marginalized people, because innovation emerges when that which is higher integrates with what is different. Without such, we will not grow into higher form of collective consciousness. Those whom we think are inferior are not at all. They're just different. But our disconnection from universal intelligence creates fear from what appears unfamiliar. And so we characterize what looks different with impermanence, discord, foulness, and fail to see that each one of us is a unique expression of the divine through the whole. We are all integral parts of the eternal yin and yang, the efflux and the reflux, the dance in which the life of the universe resonates, where nothing is misplaced or irregular, but following its own nature. There is no king who has not had a slave among his ancestors, and no slave who has not had a king among his ancestors. The outer world is us, because it is the expression of the same universal intelligence that manifests itself through you. If I am what I am, because you are what you are, and you are what you are, because I am what I am, then I'm not I, and you not you. I am, therefore you are. Sharp, sharp.